Woo! Good morning, fam! How are you doing? How are you doing today? It is great. I am absolutely busy today. I'm not going to be making a crazy video, but I'm actually going to be making some cosplay stuff. You know, that's what I've been doing ahead of time. And I thought, you know what? I'm a professional cosplayer. I've got awards. You know, let me just walk through the house with you guys here. The baseline for being a professional cosplayer is actually really low. Being a professional anything just means you make money off of it. It doesn't even have to be a lot of money. You just make money doing it, and getting money involved in any sort of hobby is always a controversial topic. So this is going to be a absolutely brutally honest look on just what you need to do to become a professional cosplayer. If you want someone to be honest with you and tell you the exact way things actually go down in the community, from someone who's been there for like 6 years now, be sure to watch this video. Stay tuned. I have watched the community grow as a whole and seen people go from amateur to pro, from pro to quitting. If you just want someone who's making $20,000 a month off of their ad revenue and Patreon, who's gonna tell you that you can make it, you can do it, it's totally possible, just click another video. Go watch one of their videos, give them some more money. They're gonna be making money off of that. Making money off of you, that's why they're a professional cosplayer. But first thing any cosplayer needs, you absolutely, if you're gonna be going pro or amateur or whatever, you're gonna be making your own stuff. Cheers. In fact, this isn't coffee, this is all espresso. It's like drinking a whole pot and a half of coffee. Welcome to professional cosplaying, boys and girls. Woo! Budget cuts. So let's have some real talk here, guys. You want to be a professional cosplayer. That is great. I completely support you and commend you on your goal. It is a great thing to be doing, and if you think you can take your craft to the next level, definitely pursue it. Nowhere in this video am I trying to debunk you and try and tell you your dreams aren't going to come true, because that is totally false. Anything is possible. But in my 6 years, I've been in cosplay from the time I was 14 years old to the time I was 20 years old. I have noticed a lot of things in the community. So if you're just getting into it, if you've only been here for a couple years, this is Big Brother Ethan's real talk with you right now. I am personally a professional cosplayer. I have made money off of cosplay. I have been able to support my hobby through itself, through cosplaying. I have been paid to cosplay. I've been paid to make people costumes. I've been paid money to win awards for cosplaying. I only have around 1,600 followers, almost 1,700 followers on Instagram, and you may have not heard of me, but that's because the baseline to actually begin professionally cosplaying, as you guys might think, is pretty low. You just gotta set goals for how much you wanna be making through this. Again, it is all about making money. Being a professional in anything just means you're making money. It doesn't mean you're really good. There are a lot of professional cosplayers out there who are not really good. And it absolutely doesn't mean really popular, because there are a lot of professional cosplayers out there who are making more money than the people who are popular, because they are making high quality pieces that are used for things like movie sets, used for those more popular cosplayers who are paying them money, and through that are able to support themselves, not just the hobby, but their entire lifestyle off of costuming. I've never got to that point before. So, if you want to be a professional cosplayer, you need to figure out the first thing is that how are you going to make money off of it? That's really the only baseline for being a professional cosplayer, is what is your method of making money? There are a couple ways to do this. You can make commissions. Commissions are huge. It's probably the easiest way to get into making money for cosplaying. It could be just a simple $40, $50 small prop for a friend of yours. It's usually where it starts off. And then it starts becoming bigger and bigger jobs. But the thing with commissions is you have to be really good at them. Over the years I've been cosplaying, I've noticed a huge amount of people just getting better and better, and all of these new creators coming out with such awesome work. It is such a competitive market. Everyone is reaching out to people for commissions. Not even to mention, a lot of people just getting into cosplaying and want to do it professionally don't have a lot of the means to compete with these other commissioners. I mean, look, like power tools, for instance. This thing cost me like $30. If I'm making a $30 prop with it, I've lost money. Oh God, it was on. Oh dude, it was on. I shouldn't be trusted to be a professional cosplayer. That's so, why did I do that? So you're not good at making commissions. If you're not, that's okay. You can practice, but it gets expensive really quickly, and all these materials get expensive really quickly. All the tools as well. Like, what if you were to tell your commissioner, hey, I need extra money to buy tools for your work? They would be like, well, you're making the commission. why don't you have these tools already? I've had commissioners who are not like that at all, and they're like, oh yeah, definitely, you want to do that? So some people are really great out there. It takes a while to find those people and to find that kind of work. Doing commissions is great though, because anyone can do it. You don't have to be particularly popular or really pretty or really fit or really any other sort of cosplay norm, which I'm going to talk about in a second, to make commissions. But let's say you're not good at cosplay. The competition's way too high. There are guys like me out there who have been doing this for years on years, taking your work and taking all the commissions. Well, there are a couple other ways you can make money doing cosplay. The next one would be fan-sourced money. This can be anything from Patreon. Patreon is huge. This can be coffee, like donations. This can be selling prints of yourself. All of these are viable options. However, let's take a brutally honest look at them. To run a Patreon, you need a following. You don't just need a following, you need a following that is willing to pay you for your work. This brings us to cosplay standards that I wanted to talk about, and just kind of an honest look on why people can get away with doing Patreon and doing coffee and doing all these kind of crowdsourced funding. If you are not pretty, it is going to be very hard to do Patreon. If you are a guy, it is going to be very hard to do Patreon. If you do not fit into the cosplay norm of what is popular and what is socially acceptable, it is going to be really, really hard to do Patreon. Let's not debunk every other person out there, because there's a thing I like to call niche marketing. I personally run a business on the side. I have Wadui Karma, which is a niche marketed streetwear company. We market it to people in the rave community and people in the weeaboo community, and this kind of overlap. So you need to find your niche market as a cosplayer to sell your work. Say your fan base is a bunch of people who are just getting into the community. They're a bunch of 14, 15-year-olds, maybe even 13 into 12-year-olds. They tend not to have money, whether they're male or female, and they tend not to have credit cards to subscribe to things like Patreon or to buy prints from you. So if that's your niche market, it's going to be very hard to do that. That's where it hits a lot of younger cosplayers and a lot of male cosplayers, because male cosplayers tend to have a younger and generally female fan base, especially if you're going to be selling things like your looks. And let's be honest, if you're doing any of these kind of things, you're selling your looks more often than not. There's a term in the industry that everyone uses, and it is called sex sells. And sadly, that is where the cosplay community is going, because that's what is happening with Patreon right now. It is lewd female cosplayers and lewd male cosplayers. Don't ever think that as a dude, you are not going to be able to do these raunchy, lewd photo shoots, because you can, and they can sell. However, the people who are paying for things, who are going to make you a professional at doing it, are generally male and generally consuming female sexy content. And these usually are the same types of females. I'm not going to go around naming names, but these are your cosplayers who put out quantity content versus quality content. Things like bikini versions or lingerie versions. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that is what they like to do, that is what they enjoy doing, and that is what sells for them. But that is what sells to the community. That is how they're making that much money off of it, because their fan base and their niche market is men who have money, who have credit cards, who can subscribe to these services and buy their work to make them professional cosplayers. So say you're not one of these conventionally cosplay pretty girls. That is totally fine. Kind of. If you're going to be looking into other alternative and niche markets of this kind of thing, look at cosplayers who are plus-sized or people of color. Now, they are no less beautiful or less of a cosplayer because of this. Whether they are fatter, don't have large breasts, if they're not a light-skinned Asian or a white female, they are still just as valid of cosplayers and just as able to be professional cosplayers. So if you fall into one of those categories, you can still make it. However, finding your market is going to be a lot harder, because you are not what sells. And that sucks. The same, I would say, is tenfold for males out there. Unless you are beautiful. If you are absolutely beautiful, unless you are super ripped, unless you were born with amazing genetics and beautiful light skin, you are going to have a much harder time. There are some awesome, talented cosplayers out there who are people of color, who are skinnier men, who are fatter men, that do not fit the conventional norm of what's cosplay pretty, but they put out awesome work. The thing is, they don't sell. They don't sell. That's not to say they're not appreciated, that they're any less of an artist, they're any less of a creator, because they're not. They are just as valid as the people who are selling, but the thing is, the market consumes what it wants. When you bring in a touchy subject like money into a hobby, it gets hard for some people to understand that not everyone is going to be making money off of it. You're putting an industry and commerce into something that should be appreciated as a hobby. If you're not fitting into these standards of cosplay, I'm sorry. You are going to have a much harder time making your dreams come true, and that that's just the reality of the community. Not all hope is lost. I want to reiterate this so much. It is not impossible. It is by no means impossible because people have done it and people can keep doing it and you can do it. If you are not one of those people, one of those conventionally pretty people, one of those amazingly talented people, you can still make it work. There are two ways to do that. One is to find a way to conform to what's accepted. It's gonna be hard. I'm talking hours and hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into honing your craft. This would be if you want to make commissions and sell work-based items. Or you're hidden at the gym, you're practicing makeup, you're using beauty products and conforming to what's popular. The way I would recommend that you guys and girls do it who aren't what's popularly pretty and what's popularly selling in cosplay is to find your niche market. Don't change yourself. You don't need to change yourself because you are still a creator. You are still valid and you can still make this work. You are just marketing to the wrong people. You are marketing to the masses. The people who are seeing you and the people who aren't buying, people who are buying the wrong people and who aren't appreciating you as an artist. If you're really passionate about this, definitely you can make it work by using these tips. Cultivate and maintain a consistent social media fan base. You want to be finding people on social media who are willing to pay for your work, who are willing to appreciate your work on a higher level than everyone else. The best way to do this would be to post regularly, use appropriate hashtags, and engage with your audience. Trust me, there are so many people in this world. More than 7 billion people in this world. A good amount of them are willing to appreciate you on a level that you think you deserve to be a professional cosplayer. Media support in this community is huge, and if you get that footing that you need, it is definitely possible for you to use that to your advantage. So, that being said, guys, please keep creating. Don't give up on your dreams. Just take a bit more of a realistic look at it. Honestly, everything is possible. If there is a new market out there that I don't know of yet, you can be the one to create it. You can be the first one in that market, and that is the best way to do it, but that requires a lot of creativity, so keep on creating. Never stop doing what you want to be doing because someone tells you you can't. I'm not saying you can't because you definitely can. You're just doing it wrong. So, subscribe. I'm gonna be making some more cosplay videos in the next couple days because I gotta catch up on some commissions. And as always, I will see you guys tomorrow. 'Cause I just wanna